Echoes from the abyss. Dr. Eleni Vasquez stared at the anomalous reading on her monitor for the third time, the blue glow illuminating her furrowed brow in the dimly lit observatory of Helios Station. The signal shouldn't exist, not from that direction, not from the dead reach. Nothing had come from that sector in recorded history. Yet there it was, a pulsing pattern, weak but unmistakable, like a heartbeat awakening after millennia of silence. Maris, are you seeing this? Eleni called out to her research partner, unable to tear her eyes from the screen. Maris Odo, a tall centaurian with iridescent skin that shimmered under the observatory lights, leaned over Eleni's shoulder. His compound eyes widened, facets reflecting the waveform pattern. Impossible, he whispered, his voice like rustling leaves. The dead reach has been silent since before the Concorde was formed. Run the diagnostic again. Eleni had already run it twice. It's real, Maris. And it's getting stronger. Within hours, Eleni's discovery had reached the Galactic Concorde's Science Directorate. Within days, it had become Priority 1. The signal defied analysis. It used no known communication protocols and resonated on frequencies that shouldn't propagate through normal space. Whatever was sending it wasn't just unknown. It was operating on principles beyond current scientific understanding. 2 weeks after Eleni's discovery, the exploration vessel Horizon Seeker approached the edge of the Dead Reach, a region of space so named for its complete absence of stellar activity or detectable resources. Captain Jerome Thel, a veteran explorer with more first contacts than anyone in the service, stood on the bridge, his dark skin contrasting with the silver of his uniform, eyes fixed on the viewport. "Anything on scanners, Lieutenant Pax?" he asked, voice steady despite the unease crawling up his spine. Lieutenant Ravi Pax, a cybernetically enhanced human with neural processors visible beneath translucent skin along his temples, shook his head. "Nothing yet, Captain. Just the signal, stronger now. Bearing 227 Mark 43. Take us in. 1/4 thrust." The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. Everyone had heard the legends about the Dead Reach, how survey ships disappeared, how the ancients marked it as forbidden in star charts dating back 15,000 years. But orders were orders, and the Concorde wanted answers. "Captain," called out the ship's xenoarchaeologist, Dr. Zoya Noor, her voice tight with excitement. "I've been analyzing the harmonic structure of the signal. It bears similarities to mathematical sequences found in ruins on Proxima 4, the ones attributed to the Navari." The name sent a chill through the bridge. The Navari were little more than legend, a species said to have dominated the galaxy 3,000 years ago before vanishing without explanation. Archaeological evidence of their existence was scarce, fragments of technology too advanced to replicate, mathematical proofs too elegant to be naturally conceived. "The Navari are extinct, Doctor," Thel replied, though uncertainty tinged his words. "Perhaps not as extinct as we thought," Zoya countered, her dark eyes bright with the thrill of discovery. They ventured deeper into the Dead Reach, the stars growing fewer until the viewports showed only the absolute blackness of truly empty space. 6 hours in, sensors detected something massive ahead, a structure of impossible proportions floating in the void. "Full stop," Thel ordered. "Magnify." The main screen flickered, and there it was, a geometric monolith, angular and imposing, its surface etched with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow despite being solid material. It was at least 20 kilometers long, made of a material so black it seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "That's not natural," whispered Chief Engineer Voskry, a stocky Arcosian whose rocky skin cracked slightly with each movement. "And it's not built like anything in our records." "Life signs?" Thel asked. "None detectable," replied Pax. "But there's energy, a lot of it, pulsing deep within the structure. And the signal is definitely coming from there." Despite the protests of his first officer, Commander Thala Luare, Thel ordered a closer approach. As they neared, the structure's surface began to glow with faint blue lines, as if acknowledging their presence. "Captain," Pax's voice was tight. "We're being scanned. Something's reading us." Before Thel could respond, a section of the structure shifted, plates of the black material sliding apart to reveal an opening large enough for the Horizon Seeker to enter. "An invitation?" Thel mused. "Or a trap," Luare countered, her feathered crest rising in agitation. After hours of debate and careful sensor sweeps that revealed nothing dangerous, Thel made the decision to send in a shuttle. He would lead the away team himself, along with Dr. Noor, Engineer Kree, and Security Chief Drenvor, a former military operative whose genetically modified reflexes made him faster than any natural human. The shuttle journey into the structure's opening took them through a vast tunnel lined with the same flowing patterns as the exterior. After several minutes, they emerged into a cavernous chamber that defied comprehension, a space that seemed larger inside than the structure had appeared from outside. Spatial manipulation technology, breathed Kriyanov. The Concorde has theorized it for centuries, but this is mastery. At the center of the chamber stood a pedestal of the same black material, atop which hovered a pulsing sphere of energy, neither solid nor gaseous, but something in between. The signals coming from that, Nurse said, her scanner trembling in her hand. As they approached, the sphere expanded, energy tendrils reaching out like curious fingers. Then, without warning, it erupted into a holographic display that filled the chamber, star maps, mathematical equations, diagrams of DNA, and quantum fields, all flowing and shifting. And then a voice spoke, melodic, androgynous, echoing as if from great distances. Recognition protocols initiated. Biological entities identified. Human, Arcosian, Thraxi. Species assessment. Primitive but viable. Chronological assessment complete. 3,247 standard cycles since stasis initiation. Beginning revival sequence. Who are you? Thel asked, instinctively stepping forward as the team's leader. The energy sphere pulsed. I am Sentinel, guardian of the Navari legacy. I exist to preserve and prepare. Nurse stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. The Navari, they existed? What happened to them? The Navari did not perish. They ascended, then withdrew. The galaxy was not ready. Calculations indicated 3,000 cycles would be required for optimal conditions to develop. A chill ran down Thel's spine. Optimal conditions for what? Reclamation. Restructuring. Renaissance. The voice seemed to gain strength with each word. The betrayal will be rectified. Balance will be restored. What betrayal? Thel pressed, but Sentinel did not elaborate. Instead, the holographic display shifted to show hundreds of points of light scattered throughout the galaxy map, each one pulsing in rhythm with the sphere. Nexus points activated. Awakening protocols initiated across all sectors. The dormant legacy rises. Ver drew his weapon, more out of instinct than with any target in mind. Captain, I don't like this. We should leave. The structure around them trembled, and the black material began to flow like liquid, reconfiguring itself. Sentinel's voice grew louder, filling every corner of the chamber. First phase complete. Releasing constraints. Physical transformation commencing. Back to the shuttle. Now, Thel ordered, grabbing Nor's arm as she stood transfixed by the changing holograms. They ran through corridors that shifted and moved, the one straight path back to their shuttle, now a labyrinth of reconfiguring passages. When they finally reached the shuttle bay, they found their vessel intact, but surrounded by the flowing black material that was slowly encasing it. Kree rushed to the controls, firing up the engines as the others piled in. The whole structure is transforming. If we don't leave now, we never will. The shuttle blasted free just as the bay sealed behind them, racing through the still open exterior tunnel. As they emerged into space, they witnessed the full magnitude of the transformation. The entire monolithic structure was unfolding like an enormous geometric flower, revealing layer upon layer of technological marvels that had been hidden within. The Horizon Seeker was already backing away at full thrust. Thel ordered an immediate rendezvous, and as soon as the shuttle was aboard, the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, putting as much distance as possible between themselves and the awakening structure. In the safety of normal space, the crew gathered on the bridge to watch the sensor readings from the dead reach. What they saw chilled them to the core. The structure had fully transformed into a vessel of unprecedented size and power, its energy readings off the charts. And it was moving, accelerating toward the heart of the galaxy. Send an emergency transmission to the Concorde. Thel ordered, his voice grave. All channels, highest priority. Tell them the Navari have returned. As the message was being prepared, Dr. Nor approached the captain, her face pale. The data I managed to download from Sentinel. I've only begun to translate it, but what I'm seeing, it's beyond anything we've imagined. The Navari weren't just another species, Captain. They were architects of reality itself. They didn't just build technology, They reshaped the fundamental laws of physics to suit their needs. And now they're coming back, Thel said, watching as long-range sensors detected multiple energy flares igniting across the dead reach, more structures awakening, more vessels forming. Yes, Nur whispered. And according to what Sentinel said, they have a score to settle. Across the galaxy, on dozens of worlds both inhabited and abandoned, long-dormant technologies buried beneath the surfaces of planets, hidden in the cores of dead stars, and drifting in the void between systems suddenly activated. Ancient machines hummed to life, structures hidden for millennia revealed themselves, and signals not heard for 3,000 years filled communication channels. The Navari were returning, and the galaxy that had forgotten them would soon remember why the ancients had feared them above all others. In the darkness between stars, the dormant legacy had awakened. Ascendant shadows. 3 months after the Horizon Seeker's fateful encounter, the galaxy trembled. Diplomat Nasha Cole stood at the viewport of the Concorde's flagship arbitrator, watching as the massive Navari vessel, now designated Monolith Prime, hung in space before them, its obsidian surface still shifting and reconfiguring like liquid mathematics made solid. 6 other Navari ships flanked it, each unique in configuration but sharing the same impossible geometry and reality-bending properties. Nasha adjusted her formal attire, smoothing the silver-blue fabric that marked her as the Concorde's high emissary. The weight of 27 civilizations rested on her shoulders. All the known sapient species united under the Galactic Concorde, now facing an existential threat none had anticipated. "They're hailing us again," announced Admiral Tyron Voss, his weathered face betraying the exhaustion of sleepless weeks. "Same frequency, same request. They want you aboard their vessel. Alone." Nasha nodded slowly, her pale eyes never leaving the viewport. "And we still have no choice but to accept." In the 3 months since the Navari's awakening, 73 outposts had gone silent. 17 Concorde warships had vanished while investigating Navari activity. Military options weren't just limited, they were non-existent. Concorde weapons couldn't penetrate Navari defenses, and attempts to deploy cyber warfare against their systems resulted in the attacking networks being rewritten from within. The only communication from the Navari had been a simple, repeating demand. "Send the one who speaks for all. The truth must be known." "I still think this is suicide," growled Drenvor, who had been reassigned from the Horizon Seeker to serve as Nasha's security advisor. His enhanced muscles tensed beneath his uniform. "We've seen what their technology can do. They could rewrite your molecular structure before you even set foot on their deck. If they wanted us dead, we would be already." Nasha replied with a calm she didn't entirely feel. Captain Thel's report made one thing clear. They believe they were betrayed. They want recognition, acknowledgement. That requires communication. Admiral Voss placed a heavy hand on her shoulder. "The shuttle is ready when you are, emissary. We'll maintain position unless we can't." Nasha nodded once more, her mind flashing to the reports that had flooded in since the awakening. Reports of Navari structures emerging from gas giants, forming from asteroid fields, rising from ocean floors across dozens of worlds. Whatever the Navari had planned, it was comprehensive and had been in preparation for millennia. The journey to Monolith Prime took 17 minutes of silent tension. The pilot, a nervous Thraxi named Evos, kept his 4 hands steady on the controls despite his obvious fear. As they approached, a section of the massive vessel liquefied, forming a perfect docking tunnel that seemed to pull their shuttle in with neither tractor beams nor visible technology. "Remember the protocols," Nasha reminded her pilot. "If I'm not back in 3 hours, return to the arbitrator. Tell them everything." "Yes, emissary," Evos replied, though both knew the information would be useless if the Navari decided to act against the Concorde fleet. The moment Nasha stepped from the shuttle, she felt the difference. Gravity that was perfect for her species, atmosphere precisely calibrated to her homeworld's composition, temperature adjusted to her personal preference. The corridor she entered was lined with the same flowing patterns seen in the recordings from the Horizon Seeker, but now they pulsed with colors that shifted in harmony with her own biorhythms. "Welcome, Emissary Nasha Cole," came a voice she recognized from the recordings. "Sentinel, the AI Guardian. The preceptors await you." The corridor extended before her, opening into a vast chamber whose architecture defied Euclidean principles. angles that should have been impossible, spaces that folded into themselves. At its center stood three figures. They were humanoid, yet clearly not human. Their bodies seemed simultaneously solid and fluid, composed of the same black material as their ships but with an inner luminescence that pulsed in complex patterns. Their faces bore no distinct features beyond suggestions of eyes, points of intense light that studied her with unmistakable intelligence. "The speaker arrives," said one, its voice resonating directly in Nasha's mind rather than through the air. The cycle completes. Nasha steadied herself, drawing on decades of diplomatic training. "I am Nasha Cole, High Emissary of the Galactic Concord. I come seeking peaceful dialogue and understanding between our peoples." "Peace," echoed another of the figures, the word carrying undertones of irony. "A concept your Concord adopted from our teachings, yet failed to honor in our absence." The third figure moved forward, its form flowing rather than walking. "You do not know us. Your histories have been purged, your knowledge curated. The truth has been hidden for 32 generations." A sphere of energy materialized between them, expanding to surround Nasha. Within it, images formed, stars, planets, civilizations rising and falling. History unfolding at impossible speed. 3,000 years ago, the first figure continued. The Navari stood as guardians of galactic harmony. "We uplifted primitive species, taught them the laws of higher physics, shared the gift of interstellar travel. We asked nothing in return but cooperation in our great work, the ascension to higher dimensional understanding." The sphere showed images of ancient species working alongside beings like those before her now, building vast structures, calibrating machines that bent reality itself. "But fear is the shadow of progress," the second figure stated. "Those we elevated grew to fear our power, our vision. They could not comprehend that we sought transcendence for all, not dominion." The images shifted to warfare. Primitive vessels attacking Navari structures, planets burning, civilizations falling. "The betrayal was total," the third figure said. 7 elder races united against us, the Thraxi, the Arcosians, the Proto-Centaurians, and others long extinct. They could not destroy us, but they damaged our work beyond repair. Rather than retaliate with genocide, we chose withdrawal. Dormancy, evolution and isolation. Nasha's diplomatic training faltered as realization dawned. The founders of the Concord, they were the betrayers? Yes. All three spoke in unison. "Your Concord was built on the ashes of our legacy, using principles stolen from our archives, technologies salvaged from our abandoned outposts. Your civilization exists because we chose mercy over vengeance." The energy sphere dissipated, leaving Nasha face to face with the three preceptors once more. "We did not sleep idly," the first explained. "We evolved beyond physical constraints. What you see before you are merely interfaces, projections allowing interaction with three-dimensional beings. Our true consciousness exists on planes you cannot yet perceive." "Then why return?" Nasha asked, finding her voice again. "If you've transcended physical existence, why reclaim the galaxy now?" "Because the work remains unfinished," the second preceptor answered. "The galaxy's development has stagnated under Concord rule. Innovation without purpose. Expansion without vision. You build empires of matter while ignoring the greater cosmos that awaits." The third moved closer, its luminous eyes studying Nasha intently. "We return not as conquerors but as architects. The galaxy must be restructured for the next phase of cosmic evolution. Your species will be incorporated, not eliminated, unless you resist." Nasha felt a chill at the casual way the threat was delivered. "And if the Concord refuses this incorporation, then you will be bypassed," the first preceptor stated simply. "Those who accept elevation will be elevated. Those who resist will be left behind, isolated on their worlds while the galaxy transforms around them." The implications were clear. The Navari didn't need to destroy the Concord. They could simply render it irrelevant. "What do you want from me?" Nasha asked, struggling to maintain diplomatic poise in the face of such overwhelming power. "Understanding," the second preceptor replied. "Return to your leaders. Tell them what you have learned. In 7 cycles, we will begin the restructuring. Those who wish to participate in the new order will be welcome. Those who do not will be respected but bypassed." "That's not much time for 27 species to decide their future," Nasha countered. "It is all the time that remains," the third preceptor said with finality. The cosmic alignment approaches, an event that occurs once every 12,000 years. The restructuring must correspond with this alignment. Before Nasha could respond, the chamber began to shift, the corridor reforming to lead her back to the shuttle. The audience was over. Absolutely not, thundered Counselor Drax of the Arcosian territories, his stone fist cracking the table in the Concorde's emergency session. We will not subjugate ourselves to these ghosts from the past. The council chamber echoed with shouts of agreement and protest as the 27 representatives debated the information Nasha had brought back. Admiral Voss stood silently at her side, his features grim. The Navari have activated 36 more nexus points since your meeting, he whispered to her. Our long-range sensors detect spatial distortions forming throughout the outer rim. Whatever restructuring they're planning, it's already beginning. Nasha nodded, watching the chaos unfold. Some species, particularly the younger ones with no historical connection to the original betrayal, seemed willing to consider the Navari's offer. Others, especially those descended from the elder races, rejected it outright. They speak of incorporation, but mean subjugation, continued Drax. Our ancestors stood against their dominance once before, and we must do so again. With what weapons? Countered Counselor Tila of the Seritan Alliance, her voice cutting through the noise. Have you forgotten what happened to the Vega defense fleet? 15 dreadnoughts reduced to component atoms in seconds. The Navari don't even perceive our attacks as threats. They view them as inefficiencies to be corrected. As the debate raged, Dr. Zoya Norse slipped quietly to Nasha's side. The xenoarchaeologist had spent the past months decoding the data retrieved from the first Navari encounter. Emissary, she whispered urgently, I need to speak with you. Privately. Nasha followed her to a secluded corner of the chamber, away from the heated arguments. I found something, Zoya explained, her eyes bright with discovery and fear. The Navari aren't as unified as they appear. The data from Sentinel contains references to factions, philosophical divisions about how their return should be managed. Some advocated for complete memory erasure of all current civilizations, a fresh start with no knowledge of the past betrayal. Are you suggesting we could exploit these divisions? Nasha asked. Possibly. But there's more. Zoya activated a small holographic projector, showing complex schematics. Their nexus points, the structures they're activating across the galaxy, they're all connected through a subspace network. It's how they coordinate their consciousness across vast distances. If we could disrupt even one major node, we might buy time, Nasha finished, understanding dawning. Not to defeat them, but to negotiate more favorable terms. Exactly. The Navari value efficiency and harmony above all else. If we demonstrate that resistance won't be simple to overcome, they might be willing to adjust their timetable, allow for genuine dialogue instead of ultimatums. Admiral Voss, who had silently joined them, nodded slowly. A strike team. Small, elite, focused on a single objective. Not to destroy, we can't, but to disrupt. To show we understand more than they think we do. I know who to send, Nasha said, thinking of Captain Felt and the crew that had made first contact. They knew the Navari better than anyone, but we'll need to move quickly. The 7 cycles are already passing. As they rejoined the council, Nasha looked out at the viewport showing the Navari fleet in the distance. The ships had begun to move, spreading out across the sector, their strange geometries leaving ripples in space-time visible even to the naked eye. The dormant legacy was fully awakened now, and the galaxy stood at a precipice. Not a choice between war and peace, that illusion had been shattered, but a choice between adaptation and obsolescence. In the shadow of the ancient beings they had once betrayed, the younger races would need to find wisdom they had never needed before. And perhaps, Nasha thought, watching as the council gradually moved from panic toward purpose, perhaps that was exactly what the Navari had returned to teach them. Beyond the viewport, stars shifted imperceptibly as new forces took hold of the cosmos. The restructuring had begun. The only question remaining was whether the Concorde would help shape it, or be shaped by it. In the vast, silent depths of Monolith Prime, the preceptors watched the deliberations through 1,000 unseen eyes. They had waited 3 millennia for this moment, the beginning of the galaxy's true awakening. Whether through cooperation or resistance, the next phase of cosmic evolution would not be denied. The balance would be restored. The work would continue. And all who dwelled among the stars would rise, willing or not, to face the dawn of a new cosmic order.